And on the other side of that brain, they're looking at a screen, and on the other side of the screen are supercomputers and engineers who have different goals than you do. And who's gonna win? Well, Tristan Harris, I'll tell you who's gonna win. I'm gonna win. So, the other day, over the last 2 days, I watched this movie on Netflix, this new movie that a lot of people are raving about, called The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix. See, a lot of people raving about it. Unironically, they rave about it on social media because the movie is all about the problems with social media. Now, I will start by noting that I think the movie addresses some legitimate issues. Namely, a big one is the fact that a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers are on social media, and it's causing a lot of problems. You can say making kids depressed or adding to their depression, which is a big issue. Now, I'm no psychologist, no expert on this topic about whether or not kids should be even allowed on social media. I don't think kids should be, but teenagers, maybe limited. I don't know what the exact amount should be. Let's get that bonus, baby. All right. But yeah, the movie talks about, like, yeah, kids, they're on social media, or teenagers are on social media, and they're getting bullied, or they're not getting enough likes on all their fancy pictures. But I don't think this issue is isolated to teenagers, though. I think a lot of people, even including adults of all ages, going all the way up to 60 and older, probably spend way too much time on social media, put way too much of a premium on what other people think on social media. And the main guy that is interviewed in this documentary is a guy named Tristan Harris, who is a technology ethicist. I looked him up on Wikipedia. That's what they call him. Technology ethicist. Tristan Harris. And he said something at one point. He said something I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Said something along the lines of, human beings, what up, Vager, have evolved. It's called the social dilemma. Human beings have evolved to care about what their tribe thinks. To care about whether or not their tribe thinks highly of them or not. We've just evolved that way. And right there I'm thinking, well, this is why people need philosophy. Because, yeah, well, it's true that, like, I'm here thinking, what are we, like in primitive nomad days? Right? Like, tribalism maybe made sense before the discovery of thinking, where you needed to be part of a tribe to survive. But we should be beyond that. Because this is pure secondhand mentality. Oh, people, they think about what their tribe thinks of them. Well, we shouldn't have tribes. Tribalism is dated. It's cringe. It's for losers. And so if people are putting a premium... Also, the guy, Tristan Harris, said, oh, it matters what your tribe thinks. But 10,000 people, 10,000 strangers, now people are upset that they're not getting enough likes from 10,000 strangers, or they're getting bullied from 10,000 strangers. And it's like, well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem isn't social media. Maybe the problem is that too many people have a second-handed mentality and put too much of a premium, too much value in what other people think of them. Which, again, can be solved by having better philosophical ideas. So I beg the question, is the problem really social media? Because there's also a huge anti-capitalist undertone to this movie. If you watch the movie, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating. They literally have skits in the movie that portray social media executives and engineers as these sinister characters that are in some shadowy lair, you know, turning dials and whatnot, and they're focusing on specific individuals like, oh, Kevin got dumped, his ex-girlfriend is now dating his best friend, send him a notification. So then he'll spend 2 hours on Facebook, then we can sell him ads. Like, does that really happen? Really? Is that what's happening at Google and Facebook? They're just spying on random-ass people, trying to get them to get on social media by sending them push notifications like, hey, your ex-girlfriend is banging another dude. Lot of people in the movie, a lot of the so-called experts, they take issue with the fact that, oh, these social media companies, they're taking your data. They're taking all your data so that they can sell to advertisers and make money. Well, okay. Is that really a big deal? I don't really mind that. I should be clear about that. I don't have a problem with the business model of social media companies taking my data to figure out what products I may or may not like. And you know what? Sometimes they advertise stuff that I don't like. And you know what? I have this thing called a brain that can, and I have free will where I can make decisions and decide, you know what? I don't like that ad, or this product isn't for me, whatever they're trying to push. These sinister social media companies and their profit motive. A lot of complaining about climate change in this documentary, too. And they sort of walk this back at the end of the movie like, oh, we don't have a problem with making money. We just got to do it responsibly. Although some guy says that sometimes there is a national interest that should take precedence over the profits of companies. Yes, got a one-up. Not a one-up. Is that what they're called in Sonic? That's a Mario thing. That's a Mario term, one-up. But they say, oh, these big social media companies, they have supercomputers and AI. There's one quote, Tristan Harris, again, said that the ethicist, he said, we have this brain that's looking at a screen, a brain that's millions of years old, trying, basically, again, repeating this notion that, like, as if we're still in primitive savage days. Like, yeah, I don't know if the brain has evolved that much over the last few millennia or millions of years. But he's like, yeah, you have this brain. And on the other side of that brain, they're looking at a screen, and on the other side of the screen are supercomputers and engineers who have different goals than you do. And who's gonna win? Well, Tristan Harris, I'll tell you who's gonna win. I'm gonna win. Because I still have free will and the capacity to think, and to not let some engineers at a social media company decide how I think. So even if a lot of the stuff they say is true, that these social media companies, they're using advanced psychology to manipulate. They make it sound like social media users are just a bunch of mindless, helpless dopes who are just helplessly vulnerable to these social media companies and their manipulation and their schemes. And it's like, okay, even if that's true, is the problem really social media? All right, this is the hard part. How many times I've drowned on this stage? Oh no, the social media companies, they're making money. One more ring. I need one more ring for the extra guy, the extra man, the extra hedgehog. And of course, they got into the issue of politics and how social media is making everyone more polarized, making everyone more extreme, which, yeah, I guess you could say that social media, the internet in general, has opened some doors to, there we go. Really want to be careful to get that extra guy. Has made people vulnerable. Some people who struggle to think, made them vulnerable, sold them on conspiracy theories and some bad ideas, whether it be communism, Marxism, Nazism, alt-right nonsense. Woof. Uh-oh. Oh, no! Got it. I thought I was about to fall through. And they also say at the end, after... Okay, so back to the issue of political polarization. But again, it goes back to thinking. Why are people buying into these social media or conspiracy nonsense and horrible ideas? Is social media to blame, or people's inability to think critically about what they're reading? At one point, I think they were speaking figuratively when he said this. He said social media has made it so each person has their own reality and their own facts. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because he eventually came around and said something like, you know, it's important that everyone get on the same page about what reality is. And, you know, there was a lot of talk about, oh, people just don't know what's true anymore. You know, some people are buying into flat earth nonsense. It's like, well, a rational thinking person would just entertain flat earth for maybe 5 seconds and say, nah, just scroll past it. You know, if you come across it on your Twitter timeline or Facebook newsfeed or whatever. Actually saw, what's her face? Partis Selle? Someone I follow on Twitter, political pundit, blue check mark, who I usually like, but she said something like, you know, they call it conspiracy theories for a reason. You know, you shouldn't just be a dick and dismiss it out of hand. Oh my god, that bubble messed me up. And now that arrow's gonna get me. See? Oh, got me! Ah! I'm vulnerable. Ah, got me! No! Metal fish, as I was saying. This is a big reason why I don't use the term theory when discussing quote-unquote conspiracy theory. I describe conspiracy theorists, quote-unquote, as conspiracy crazies, and conspiracy theories as conspiracy nonsense, because I think calling it a theory undercuts the concept theory, while also giving conspiracy theorists, quote-unquote, legitimacy that they don't deserve. And as my buddy Sam on Twitter said, it's more of an unsubstantiated hypothesis, if anything, these theories. But as far as the political polarization goes, you could say that social media and the internet in general has maybe helped introduce some stupid people to bad ideas. But as far as the polarization goes, yeah, I think social media has just put a microscope, so to speak, on ideas that most people, people 30 years ago wouldn't be aware of. And I think the movie kind of touches upon that. It's something I've thought for years, in that, 30 years ago, you would never talk to your college roommates or your classmates from high school or people you played intramural soccer with. 30 years ago, you would never see these people again in your life. People that you made sandwiches with at Jimmy John's for a summer job. Other coworkers you may or may not have. "30 years ago, you would never see these people again. Now, you stay connected with them through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram. And so now you can see what your high school principal or whatever thinks about the tax rate, thinks about trickle-down economics. Now you can see what your coworker at a summer job thinks about communism, or whether or not they're conspiracy lunatics, conspiracy crazies. It's hammer time. And so I think that's definitely helped lead to the polarization that I don't think a lot of people realize would happen. But again, it's the fault social media for just pulling the curtain back and shining and bringing it into focus, bringing it out in the front? Or is it just bad ideas to blame? And the fact that people don't have the capacity to just dismiss bad ideas out of hand. And yeah, that was another thing, going back to the whole ads. Another issue that they make a big deal out of is the fact that social media companies, namely Facebook, they'll send you emails about notifications. Like, if someone tags you in a picture, you're going to get an email in your box, your mailbox, saying so-and-so tagged you in a picture, and then that will lead you to spending 2 hours on Facebook, because you go to check out the notification, and then before you know it, you're scrolling through your timeline, you're arguing with dumbasses about whether or not the earth is flat. And then before you know it, you're spending 2 hours, and then some creepy, sinister engineers in a back room somewhere are sending you ads to buy Mountain Dew margaritas at Red Lobster. And it's like, okay, there's a simple solution to this problem, this non-problem. It's called turn off your push notifications. Who has push notifications for their email with, the amount of spam I get these days, And unsubscribing never helps either. This is a tangent. You guys ever unsubscribe to spam emails, and then you still get emails? It's fucking bullshit. I actually turned off my my Twitter push notifications the other day for not because I'm addicted to social media and I need to spend less time. It was actually because I wanted to take a nap and I was expecting a phone call, and my phone kept waking me up because I kept getting Twitter notifications. And yeah, this is the thing, is Twitter will notify you if someone responds to a tweet, and then you get on to see what someone says, and then you respond, and before you know it, you're scrolling through your timeline, wasting a lot of time on Twitter that you didn't anticipate if it weren't for that damn push notification. Anyway, I turned off the push notifications. I'm going to keep them off because now I'm thinking, wow, I'm not spending as much time on Twitter. Oh, thought I was about to get squished. So it's that easy. Just, if you think you're spending too much time on social media, which I'm sure a lot of people do, not saying it's not a problem, but people need to get the willpower. That was another thing. One of the big Facebook people was being interviewed for the movie. I keep telling myself I have the willpower, but then I can't help it. Well, that's your problem, dude. Turn off the push notifications, and then, yeah, you won't be spending as much time on Twitter because you won't be tempted. You won't know when someone has responded to a tweet or liked a tweet or whatever. But yeah, no one knows what's true anymore. Well, people have to be able to decide what's true by using their brain, assessing the evidence. That's a cool machine. It got, like, neon lights on it and everything. Dr. Robotnik. So anyway, that's my problem with social media, is it actually does make some legitimate... It does address some legitimate issues that we should be thinking about. Namely, the fact that a lot of people, too many people, spend too much time on social media. Namely, kids and teens. But the issue is not social media. I think the issue is bad ideas and people who don't know how to think and place too much of a premium on shit that doesn't matter. Like getting a lot of likes on your photo. Or trying to make it look like you're having a lot of fun with life. People need to rethink the second-handed mentality. But it packages these legitimate concerns with anti-capitalist themes. And I think blames social media way too much, undercuts people's ability to think. Because as we all know, technology can be nice. And they say this at the end. Tristan Harris says, look, I'm not saying all social media is bad. I think it's magic that you can just press a button on your phone and a car will appear in front of your door, in front of your house, and take you wherever you need to go. Because they do explicitly call for regulation and stuff in the movie. So yeah, take some legitimate issues. Or no, I'll add to that. Technology can be your best friend or it can be used to destroy. Nuclear technology can be used to produce clean, cheap electricity better than any other source besides fossil fuel energy and hydroelectric if it's available. Could also be used to destroy cities in a matter of seconds. Automobiles can be used to run people over, kill people, or it could be used to make life better. Oof. So yeah, packages legitimate issues that should be discussed with anti-capitalist, anti-thinking themes.